Hello, hello. Just waiting for UC. Yes, I'm inviting you. Just invited you. Hey, UC.
Hey, just don't make me seem like a bad person because I was here. It's just yeah.
I was just checking if it's working. I'm just checking if it's live on Facebook.
Yeah.
I don't think it is yet.
Uh-oh.
That's okay. Let me see here. Give me a second. I'm gonna check. Because I think it's actually live on, I think I see it live on YouTube, but not Facebook.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't see it. Let me check. Maybe I'll create a new Facebook stream. Do you see it on Facebook?
No.
Okay. Okay, no problem. I'm gonna remove this Facebook stream. I'm gonna start again. But I've already done this because it's easy.
Super easy.
Here we go. That's why the dogs are on that side. Okay, I'm just setting it up in Facebook. Takes me 2 seconds.
Nice.
Okay.
That's super cool. I will just wait until it shows up on your Facebook because then I'm gonna share it on mine.
All right.
Get some people.
So it's weird. It doesn't let me. What?
I just opened the one on YouTube and it's so weird to see.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, it's weird because it's letting me get there, but right, let's try this. Letting me schedule the video, but it's weird. It didn't. Let's see. Create live stream. Let's try again. Because technically the thing is live. I mean, technically people could join through Crowdcast directly as well. Yeah. So I mean, maybe I could share that for now, and then just keep trying to stream it directly as well. I'm going to do that first because technically it's 4 already.
Oh,
Ooh, what?
yeah, I actually see that you plan to go live
Yeah, so I was able
in
to
10
do
minutes.
that. I mean, we can just use that and wait until it lets me actually go live.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's saying offline in Facebook, and it's not offline. We're online. We're online. Um,
We are online, please.
we'll
Let us be online.
Yeah, it's not letting me. I don't know why. Stream key, that's fine. You still hear me okay?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll just post this thing for now, and then we'll see. I guess we'll have to wait a couple minutes. Da-dum.
Well, until then, let's just sing a song, for example.
I mean, technically, there could be people watching us from YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just published it on my page. So
Okay.
we'll just let it happen. Well, Crowdcast, I mean, yeah, the Facebook thing we didn't test because I thought that would be pretty automatic.
Yeah. Always the one thing you don't test that will
That's the
mess
thing
you
that
up.
everybody. Yeah. Well, I'm sure. I mean, if we go over, we go over a little bit. And that's okay, I guess. Hey, Shannon.
Hey.
So yeah, we're trying to figure out the Facebook streaming. But nice to have you here. So much fun. I should do these more often. I'm totally going to abuse of this Crowdcast account, by the way.
As you should.
We just now have to find all the things to talk about for a month.
I mean, it's...
Is that possible?
You will make it work, I'm pretty sure.
So Shannon, we're a couple other people to join, and we're also I want to stream this to Facebook, and I'm waiting for Crowdcast to do that for me. So it's taking its.
We are waiting for the tech to work decently.
Yeah, but I mean, so far, as long as I can hear everybody and see everybody, I think in general, I'm pretty happy. I've been in some nightmare webinar situations where no one could hear each other, no one could see each other. It was yeah. All right. All right, we're gonna wait a minute or so more and then we'll get started. Hey, Jenna. Thanks for coming.
People are coming.
Hey, Cindy. Thanks, Cindy, for letting me know that June doesn't have 31 days. That was Cindy's doing. I would have totally not noticed that I put the wrong date again on my second email. unfortunately. It's like ridiculous. But I guess that happens, right?
You are really waiting for July, don't you? Because even for the podcast, you were like, "Oh, and we are launching this episode in July."
Yeah, I'm just always ahead, you know, in my head. I'm always like 10 steps ahead. So for better or for worse, that's how my brain works. All right. I think we should just get started and just get into the content. So thanks everybody for coming. I'm really excited to walk through Google Analytics with you today. And just so you know, this webinar is specifically designed for virtual assistants and web designers. But anybody can get stuff out of it because it's Google Analytics and we all should be looking at that stuff anyway. And I invited my lovely co-host UC to help me just accompany me in the in the journey of webinars. So she's going to be actually, UC, I invited you specifically because you are one of the case studies, and I wanted you to talk a little bit about your experience with Google Analytics and how you used it with a specific client. So that's really great.
Yeah, and I'm also the original mascot of Cynthia's course.
Yeah, she's the official mascot.
Yeah, that's a thing now. So yeah, I'm really happy to see everyone here. And in case you don't know me, my name is Yuti. I am a web developer, virtual assistant, and tech strategist type of person. And I'm super excited to be here. And I won't steal any more time. I will monitor the comments. So if you have any questions, that feel free to drop everything there.
Yeah.
And yeah, have fun.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. I mean, the idea is to give you guys lots of value with Google Analytics, and you're free to ask questions at any time. There's going to be a specific question and answer period at the end, but you can ask questions, and depending on how we're doing on time, I might pause during the presentation to go through questions, but yeah. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. What to do? Got too many windows open as usual. How many? Haven't started, but hopefully.
Isn't that just live?
Okay, so you guys see my screen probably. I'm going to do this. There we go. Okay, so now you should only see my screen. And I'm going to, there we go. All right, so the purpose, oh, I got the date right, so good start. So the purpose of this webinar is really learning how to use Google Analytics, not just for your own business. And I really believe it doesn't matter how big your business is. If you've started just a month ago with your website, starting to get familiarized with Google Analytics can be a huge ally in many cases. But what I wanted to focus on is how to use Google Analytics as a service and how to basically benefit your clients. So if you're a virtual assistant or a web designer, you are, responsible for a lot of the website, and I think Google Analytics should be part of that. So right now, you might look at these reports and they are not bringing positive emotions. Feel free, in the chat to just put out, like, how do these make you feel when you look at all these numbers, when you look at just a graph in general, what is the emotion that comes to mind?
Yeah, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being absolutely torture.
Yeah, and I hear you. I mean, the reality of analytics, it wasn't designed in the way we think it's designed, and I'm not going to get into that in this webinar, but maybe I'll do another webinar with the birth of Google Analytics and to explain why it is what it is today. But basically, my goal in this webinar is if you can kind of open up the tool and not same wrenching feeling from all the numbers, I've done my job. Because I really don't feel like it's worth our time to worry about all the numbers in here, and it's really just about getting focused. Okay, so in this, just like a really quick agenda, so we're going to be talking about, you know, why Google Analytics, and I'm going to be using a lot of analogies. I'm very visual, so I'd like to talk in analogies, and hopefully that transmits. And then we're going to be looking at 2 case studies, so specific virtual assistants and web designers who have used Google Analytics in their business to look more professional, to bring in more clients, and to really just grow in general. And so, UC is one of them. And yes, I dared to put her last name on the presentation.
That's fine. That's fine. Just don't try to pronounce it.
No, I won't. And then I'm going to show you one report you can start using today with your clients or with your own website. I really want you to run away from this or take away from this webinar something that you can start using today. And it's going to be a really simple report. And to complement that report, I did a worksheet. So if you don't have access to the worksheet, I sent an email this morning with a downloadable link. And if you're not on my emailing list, you can go to my Instagram, which is Digimorphs. And I don't know, you see if you can just pop the link in the chat, that'd be great. And then the link in the profile will take you to an automatic download. It actually comes in through an email, and then you'll be able to download it. So I highly recommend just taking a minute to get distracted and getting that, because that's going to help you just make full use of this report. And then finally, I have like a special little offering at the end if you're interested, and I really think it's interesting. And then at the very end, a Q&A. So as I said before, you guys can ask any questions during the webinar, and some questions we might pool to the end, and others we will take as we go along. Okay, just a little bit about me. I'm a pretty big data nerd. That's why I'm hanging out with UC. And I actually didn't study Google Analytics or web analytics, and I'm going to talk more about that in the future, because I think a lot of people think that they need to be some sort of genius to look at this stuff, but they don't. And I actually have a fine arts degree, so I am creative. You know, I paint, and I like to kind of be artsy, and yeah, and so those kind of things seem different, but they can come together. And finally, I have 2 dogs and 2 cats, so I have a very furry household, and it's good. I invested in a vacuum cleaner very early on. Okay, so this is our online home, and I just love this cabin. I don't know about you guys, but that looks like an awesome cabin. If I could live in the woods, you know, that's what my cabin would look like. But
I would definitely chill there for a while. That's for sure.
So as we have online businesses, our website is our online home. It's where we publish our content. It's where we connect with our audience, and it's really where we just live, right? And it's where we can publish whatever we want and just be ourselves. And it's important to take care of our online home and to know exactly what's going on in our online home. So a lot of the times, you know, we have spam, or we have hackers and different things. And I also just think on a general level, sometimes we don't really know how people are using our websites. So if you're a virtual assistant, you might be publishing content, you might be recycling content, you might be tweaking certain things on the website, you might be resharing to social media, and so you really should be familiar with your and your clients' websites. And as a web designer, the same thing, you are redesigning, you're creating these homes, you're like the construction worker, putting this thing together, nailing the boards together. And sometimes a client comes to you and they want to, change the whole roof, or sometimes they want to knock down a wall, sometimes they want to add a wall. And sometimes the house is just not good to start with. So being aware of the status of this online home is so important to the work we do. And that's why we need to use Analytics. Google Analytics gives us a lot of information about what's going on the website. So this can range from errors. So we have a specific report for JavaScript errors, 404 pages, and then just more general stuff like where are people landing when they come to our website, or where are they located when they come to our website. So it can be quite varied, and I think that's actually one of the reasons people get overwhelmed by Google Analytics so quickly, because there is so many different reports. But that's why I'm here. I'm going to help you identify, which of these reports you really should be focusing on, and which are really important. But just for you to understand, all these things are available in Google Analytics, and that makes it one of the most powerful tools that you have online to know the status of your online home. And it's free. It's absolutely free. Okay, so that's something else that a lot of people don't talk about. You do have analytics on a lot of other systems, but most of them are paid. And Google Analytics is an analytics tool just focused on your site, and it doesn't cost a thing. So I like this quote to talk about Google Analytics, because I feel like a lot of the times we get really obsessed about all the little things that we're doing in our businesses and on our websites, but we're not really getting the big picture. And I'm going to explain kind of how this applies more specifically, but I think that Google Analytics is a tool that helps you look at the big picture, and that can be applied to content, that can be applied to marketing, that can be applied to a site redesign. Sometimes we're so obsessed with something we think is important, but because we don't see the big picture, we're not really looking at the right thing, because it might not be important at all. So again, Google Analytics is this powerful tool that lets us look at things at a high level and really know what we should be focusing on. Because if we're not focusing on the right thing, we can be wasting a lot of time, making certain changes on the website or content, and it's not right. Okay, so we're going to start with the first case study with UC.
Oh, me.
Okay, so UC. Okay, so this client was a product-based client, and UC, I'm going to let you talk about it in a second, but I just wanted to quickly present it. So they sell products online, and they just had no idea kind of what was going on their website in general. And this is just, I put their content, but I think in general they had like nothing. They didn't know like how many visits there were happening. And this is the first big mistake. If you have an online business, you need to know how many people are visiting your site on a monthly basis. How are you going to know your goals? How are you going to know the traffic and how you want to grow? So I think this case study is a classic case of just not having any awareness. And so they wanted some guidance in that area. Yeah, UC, what do you think? Was that kind of how the client, tell me what the client initially said to you when they mentioned analytics.
Yeah, so basically she started off saying that she wants to see what's up with analytics. So she didn't specify what she wanted to know. It was basically my task to choose the reports that I want to focus on based on the conversation I had with her about what she wants to achieve. And it was basically just driving sales and driving traffic to her website, which is a huge issue because she spent a lot of time and money improving her website without knowing what her actual visitors do. And and it is all nice, but as probably some of you know, probably some of you are web designers or web developers, it's very cool to have a pretty website, but if it's not optimized for whatever action your client wants to take, it's really just a pretty placeholder on some domain. And I do think that there's a huge power in knowledge, by knowing which products of yours perform better and which ones are the ones that really nobody visits. Because if you're, for example, product-based business, you might have several branches of products, and you can infer by the popularity of one product of a certain category how another product of the same category would perform if you would focus on that particular branch. Does it make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it brings it into context of like, especially when you're starting, like there's so many things you could do. So
yeah. And quite honestly, oftentimes what you think you want to do is not always the best thing that you can do. So knowing what your visitors do is, I think it's extremely important, and just a very nice tool to have in the toolbox.
Yes.
So after that, I kind of created these reports for her that outline the most important aspects of her analytics. It was a report covering 6 or 7 months, maybe. I think, and I also added this little like explanations of what the terms mean, because if you have ever been in Google Analytics, it's not intuitive at all. So it's like before you go in there, how many times you use the word bounce rate?
0.
Right. I mean, in some neighborhoods you might, but otherwise it's not really common knowledge what those mean in the context of a website. So yeah, that was basically it. And I also helped her interpret what she saw, because it's also not very straightforward, because everyone can stare at numbers and it's super fun. But if they don't really mean anything to you, then you are not winning.
I think this case study is the perfect example of a first step of what it could be like to help a client with their Google Analytics, because sometimes like the client doesn't really know that this is important. They just think it's kind of a waste of their time in most cases. And I totally get that, because I feel like it's actually the virtual assistant's or the web designer's job to explain and to show the value of the tool. And I know that sounds like overwhelming, and it's kind of like, well, why me? But I do feel like it can end up benefiting everybody in so many different ways, and you just don't want to miss out on that. Like you said, you see the client didn't know what to focus on, and Google Analytics was the first step to understanding what products were really important. So in this,
But also, since we are basically virtual assistants and web developers here, right? I would just go out on a limb and say that make sure to get a clear picture of what your client actually wants and what she wants to focus on, or what he wants to focus on, whatever. Because you can create the most beautiful report that exists in the universe, and it might be in vain if the client just wants to add the data into a spreadsheet and just get it over with. So make sure to pitch the idea of creating a very beautiful report, and if they are just not into it, then spreadsheet is fine. You are doing some very high quality data mining anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I'm going to get into later. Just how do you, it's great you brought it up, because I think that's a really valid concern. Like, how do I show a client this is important, and what do I say to them and what don't I say to them? So I feel like there's parts of Google Analytics that probably you don't need to necessarily share with the client. And there's parts that you can use for pitching future work or your own redesign. And then there's other things that you do want to expose to the client and use. And I'm going to show a specific example of how you can do that in this webinar. But it's a great first kind of show and tell of what it could be like. And I think it benefited you in many ways. So
yeah.
All right, so we're going to move on to the next case study, which is a little bit more extensive. So this is with Erin Flynn, which some of you may or may not know, but she's an awesome web designer, and she has a large community of other awesome web designers. So with Erin, she had a client who was a services-based client, and the client had a lot of content, and they were actually looking to redesign their website. So they had all this content, and they didn't really know how to approach a redesign. So of course they reached out to Erin, because she's amazing. And Erin actually contacted me. So I was the one who helped out in this area. But I guess I wanted to speak to that collaboration that happened between me and Erin. So the client was doing this redesign, and they were also really experimenting with their marketing. And so they didn't know kind of if they should keep doing stuff on Facebook, if they need to focus more on guest posts or on email. And that was the situation, initially that the client came to us with. So the outcome actually, is quite several things. So one of the things I did for them initially, or I did for the client, was help with the redesign. So I actually gave them a plan of what they could improve. And I worked really closely with Erin on this, because I showed her areas of the site, so specific pages like the home page. What were people doing? What were people clicking on after opening up the home page? What were people not clicking on? We analyzed every specific page. And again, not everything was necessarily exposed to the client. So it wasn't like I was telling the client everything I was looking at, but I definitely worked closely with Erin, and I created a document so that Erin could redesign the website in a way that really worked well, and that really made sure that the new site or the redesigned site was smart. We also did just like a general site traffic analysis, and this is a little bit more closely related to marketing. So again, they wanted to know in terms of the blog, what posts were more popular. So based off that information, she was able to reshare certain things more strategically. So, the top posts, creating more content around that, or maybe just resharing something that's already been published. A lot of the times, the most popular post is something that you published in the last 6 months that you completely forgot about. And it's so easy to recycle content, and Google Analytics gives us this great perspective at a high level. The other area also is we looked at age and interest data. So she was able to look a little bit closely at who her ideal client was and what she considered kind of a client profile. So I don't want to get into all of this, but I just want to, I like this case study because it did directly impact a redesign, but it is quite amazing the strength that the tool has to not just talk about the website, but just in general, who are your clients? What are their interests? What are their demographics? Where are they located? and which of these clients are actually downloading an opt-in, or which of these clients are actually subscribing to the newsletter. So all this information is all in one place in Google Analytics, and that can be powerful. And then finally, I ended up doing an SEO project with this client as well. But I just wanted to show kind of the extent, and this was over a year of time. But I think that in conclusion, Erin did make smarter decisions for the redesign. There was just less guessing in general, not just about the site, but about the marketing. And it really ensured future work. And I know that Erin still works with this client to date. So yeah, I think it was amazing, that collaboration. And I'm really grateful to have been involved in that as well. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly check. Maybe there's like questions about one of these things. Oh, hey, Natalia. Okay. I don't know. You see, do you have any questions? Like,
what? Sorry.
Do you have any questions about the Erin use case?
No, but does anyone have any questions about anything so far? Question mark.
All right, we're just gonna keep going. I'm sure the questions will come. Okay.
Yeah, just feel free to interrupt.
Yeah. So like I said at the beginning, my goal for this webinar was really to give you a tool to start today to apply Google Analytics to your website or to a client's website, because I think it's so powerful, not just literally for the client, but to look like a professional virtual assistant or a professional web designer who knows what's going on the website, and they're not just guessing. And I mean, a lot of it does come from experience. So a lot of the things we do in our businesses is because we have, 3, 4, 5 years of experience or more, and we just know it's going to work. But if we have data to back stuff up and to talk to clients with about, why not? Like, why? That just makes things stronger, and it actually takes out the emotion, a lot of the times, of why we explain to clients, okay, I think you should do this, and maybe the client doesn't want to listen. But if we show them data, hey, they're just going to be like, well, of course.
I mean, to be fair, you still might face some opposition, let's say that, but at least you're backed up by data, so that's always a fun thing to
it helps. It helps with the argument, right? Or with the discussion.
That's for sure.
Okay, so this is a workbook. This is the worksheet that you should all have access to. And the reason why I shared this with everybody before the webinar is because I really feel like this is actually the first step that we should be taking before even looking at Google Analytics. And this seems kind of like upside down, like, well, shouldn't I be asking the tool what to look at? I think that approach of going to the tool and kind of like asking it, well, what should I do? I think that leads to, in most cases, confusion and frustration. And I want to avoid that. So instead of going directly to the tool, what I recommend is taking a moment to answer these questions. And so if you were able to do this before the webinar, that's great. If not, that's okay as well. And just think about, what blog posts have you published in the last 30 days? So again, if this is for a client, then write out the answers for a client. What specific marketing did you do for each one? So again, if it's for a client you're aware of this, maybe just writing out what different social networks or email campaigns they have going on. And if there are any that they tried something different. So the idea here is always to mark if there's a difference in what they do normally. And then what were the call options in each one? So again, looking at this content and looking how we're strategically using it, and then seeing, you know, which one's more successful. So that's the first part. And so the last part you're going to leave for now. But if you want, after we look at the report, you'll actually be able to brainstorm other content pieces. Because basically the report we're going to be looking at is going to tell us which of these blog posts in the last 30 days were most popular. So the idea is that you will identify that and then be able to reshare or create more content depending on where your client is at. So if you've answered the first 3 questions, that's ideal. And you can leave the gray part for later. Okay, so this is the report that we're going to be looking at. So if you open up your Google Analytics right now, dun, 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 and you click on behavior, and then under behavior, site content, all pages, and I'm going to do this too on my end. So you're going to get the all pages report. And what this report is going to show us while it's loading, explain what it shows us. It shows us all the traffic coming to our site, where people are specifically viewing. So that's why this area is called behavior, because we are looking at the behavior of our site visitors specifically on our site. If you have any issues getting to this report, please let me know, but I'm going to move on. Okay, so this is what the report initially look at, and this is something I took recently because you can see here that the #1 article from my website is for this webinar. Recommend, well, first thing, please make sure that you have the last 30 days. So if you scroll up on the report, you're going to see a date. Make sure that you've selected 30 days, and in under that date initially, there's a date range drop-down menu, and you can actually select an option that says last 30 days. So once you've selected that and you've hit apply, your data will reload, and you're going to get, again, a whole list of numbers and values, and you're probably kind of freaking out right now, but stay with me, stay with me. So the next step is we're actually not going to hang out in here that much longer. We're going to take a screenshot. So that's why it says screenshot at the top of this slide. I want you to screenshot your Google Analytics. And if you don't have a screenshot tool, I recommend Sketch, which is for Mac. I think it's only for Mac, actually. But if you're on a PC, you should be able to print screen. Command print screen. So you're probably asking, like, why the hell am I screenshotting this? So the reason I recommend screenshotting is that I feel it brings down the overwhelm, because suddenly you've copied the report into a Word document or into a Google Doc, and it's not in Google Analytics anymore. So you can kind of freeze this moment and take a second to analyze the data and actually mark up the data. So another reason I like Sketch on the Mac is because it lets me create this kind of stuff. So it lets me mark up the data. So this is how I personally do my analysis. I don't like spend that much time inside Google Analytics, but I spend a lot of time with screenshots of Google Analytics looking through the data. If I'm analyzing and I want to filter data, or if I want to segment or create some sort of cross of 2 data points, I obviously have to go back into Google Analytics, but I always end up screenshotting. And this actually helps me with the analysis, and it helps me later create reports, because I'm not worrying about everything else going on inside the tool. I'm focusing on one report at a time, and I'm helping myself, you know, basically create better decisions off the data. Okay, so your next step here is to, if you have Sketch or if you have some sort of highlighter, Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, but Jen asks whether this is on analytics.google.com, and yes, it is. But let us know if you are having trouble locating this exact screen, because it can get overwhelming.
Yeah, actually, maybe I could just quickly show them how to get to this report.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna quickly open up Google Analytics here. So when you open it up, it might just show you any random report. So you want to go to the left side menu here, behavior, site content. So it's going to look like this, site content, and then all pages.
Yeah, and also even before you get here, you have to choose a site even.
Yeah, so I mean, you have to go first to analytics.google.com.
Yeah.
And then you'll have the option. I mean, I think this is usually the first report you get, the audience report. And then on the left side menu, you should be able to find behavior. Let us know if you're still having issues.
Yeah.
Okay. So as I was saying, if you have some sort of screenshotting highlighter tool, you can use it now. And if not, that's okay as well. And you can just save the webinar and bring it back up when you do this. But basically what the next step is highlighting your top 3 posts. So this report, out of default, it's going to show you your blog posts and all your site sections. So you can see here that I have the / as number 2, that's my home page. I have my services page. I have my Google Analytics course page. So everything is kind of mixed in. There is a way to filter this out, but right now I don't want to show you that. I don't know if it's necessarily important, because I think that you can still identify a little bit of what was popular. So once you've identified your top 3 pieces, I want you to write them down again on a separate document. So you're not gonna spend too much time looking at the data right now, because as a first step, just getting to this report is enough. And just identifying the top 3 posts, that's enough. Okay. Any other questions? Just pause quickly.
No.
Okay.
Point, I think. Yeah.
All right. So this is what you're going to do. And this is for you to take away, and you don't need to use the emojis. That's just me. But this is for you to use with your client and to something useful today. You could send this today and look like a rock star. And I'm going to show you right now how to fill this in and how to use this Mad Libs email template. Okay, so you're going to put dear client. So obviously put the client's first name in there. I finished. So here the idea is to kind of connect with another task that you've been doing lately. So this could be, I finished scheduling this week's social media posts, or it could be I finished looking through the redesign plans that we have. So here you could put anything, or you could even take out I finished, because I don't know, I just thought it could be something you finished, but anything that you need to send the client a status on. And you send them a little bit of a blurb that you want to talk to them about Google Analytics. So just mentioning that you saw, you know, I wanted to send you some interesting information about your blog content by looking at your Google Analytics. So you don't need to go into too much detail about that. And I really think this is the best approach, because if we start making it a really big deal, I think that's when clients kind of freak out and they don't know how to react.
Yeah, and also if you spend a lot of time looking at their analytics and they decided they don't really want to proceed with that, then it's not really nice to waste time.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to start simple. And I think that this email is a great simple start, just to see what they say and how you can keep the conversation going. So the next sentence is basically the information that we just pulled from the report. So your top 3 posts in the last month are blank, blank, and blank. And if feeling extra adventurous, then look back at this report. I mean, in my case, this isn't a good example because I'm mixing my podcast with my articles, but if I was getting over a certain amount of views, I could put each of these are getting over 50 page views. So again, you can look at this and see if it's actually interesting for your client. But also, if you, again, feel adventurous and you know what bounce rate is, put that in here as well. So finally, this is the action. And this is really, really important because it really makes me sad when data is analyzed, but then nothing is done with it. And that's the real magic of Google Analytics, is using the data to make better decisions and to experiment, because that's what we're doing in our businesses 90% of the time. We're experimenting, we're playing around, we're seeing what's working, what's connecting with our audience. What do they really want to hear about? And Google Analytics can help us with that. So here, you're really getting the client to take action. And so you're putting, based on this data, I think we should reshape these blog posts. Actually, that should say reshare. That's a typo. Reshare these blog posts in the next month's content calendar. So in this way, you can recycle the content and you're really creating a solution for the client, because they don't need to create this content. You could reshare one. You don't need to put all. I don't know what situation your client is in right now, but if they're looking for blog posts, here you have it. You have the solution for them. So you put, let me know what you think, sincerely. And again, like, if you're not a sincerely type of person, you can put whatever you want here. Okay. So the idea of this email template is really, again, to open up a conversation that changes maybe how your client views you, because I think at the end of the day, we all want to just do admin tasks. And I think a lot of the times clients hire us because we are smart, we're strategic, and we're not just an admin robot. We do so. And I think that Google Analytics, again, is a strategic tool that can help us do that. I'm going to pause here for a second, and I'm just going to get some water. I'm going to see if anyone has questions. Now's the time to ask.
Feel free to drop them in the comment box. About anything, basically. Maybe related to Google Analytics, too.
Okay. You did some water there.
Good.
All right,
And
so
another important takeaway from today's webinar is to always hydrate.
it was what? Sorry, I didn't hear it.
You should really make sure to hydrate often.
Oh yeah, yeah, you're right.
Okay, we do have a question. Jenna asks, I went to the website and signed up, but how do I show my website? Do I need something on my website? Yeah.
Yeah, so Jenna, if you haven't set up Google Analytics, I have a blog post on how to do that, and you do need to put code on the website in the header, actually, in the head. So if you stick around to the end, I'll share that with you, like the blog post, or you can go, if you go to my website, gmorphs.com, in the articles section, you should be able to find that blog post. So I have a...
That's fine. I'm actually searching for it, so I should be able to find it soon, and I will add it.
Thanks, UC. Yeah, so I have a separate one for Squarespace, WordPress. But yeah, good question. Yeah. All right. So this is something that's important that you asking yourself. You know, why should you start this question? Because the reality is the client hasn't asked you for this. They're not paying you for this initially. And it's not really something that, I don't know, if no one's asking you to do it, you know, why do it? And I think it goes to this idea of responsibility and your job to take care of this client. A lot of the clients they're not technical. They don't know the stuff we know. And so if you know about Google Analytics and you know that it can give them extra information, I think that it is your job to talk to them about it and to slowly show them that using Google Analytics is one of the smartest things that they can be doing in their online business and for their website. And I also think another reason that it benefits you is that it can lead to a better client relationship. It can lead to future work, like in the case studies. It can just lead to trust and a more strategic relationship. So maybe initially the client hired you to do some sort of scheduling or to do something more admin. But you want to eventually become a more strategic kind of team, you know, inside the client's team. You want to be more strategic. You want the client to listen to you when you recommend something or when you do something that you think will be good. And in order to do that, again, using Google Analytics is like just using the reality of what's going on their online home to be more strategic. So I think that it really benefits you as well if you do want to become something a little more important to the client. And if you just want to do admin tasks, that's okay as well. And I still think that the tool can benefit those admin tasks. So yeah.
Cynthia? We have another question about the implementation of Google Analytics, because Jenna has a full HTML website. So if I understand correctly, it's not built on any like WordPress or Squarespace. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, the question is whether she just has to add the code on the homepage or all the pages.
Yeah, it has to
between the
it has
tags.
to be on all the pages. So in case maybe need to do actually implement kind of a JavaScript file that gets on all the pages in the head, so you don't need to copy and paste the code on every single page. Basically something more dynamic. But to answer your question, Jenna, yes, it needs to be on all the pages. So yeah, so this is kind of what I was talking about before. Like, I think we want to, in general, we don't want to just be this admin robot. Like, we want to do a lot more, and we want to work with clients who ask more strategic questions and that hire us not just because we can schedule a Facebook post, but because we have ideas and thoughts and opinions about what the best way to do that is and how that can benefit their business. And I think Google Analytics is the way to go on that. So, does anyone play Minecraft? Like, off topic, but not really. So if any, yay, Tracy does. Oh, I feel so. You don't play, do you?
I don't. I mean, this is probably the worst thing that someone can say, but it gives me the worst headache.
Oh my God, why?
I don't know. It's just so. I mean, I saw some parts of it, and it was basically just mining and just seeing these huge pixels drop everywhere.
Yeah, the first time I played, it felt kind of. It was like my eyes couldn't focus, I guess, but then I got used to it and I love it. So, okay, so why am I talking about Minecraft? I think that looking at Minecraft, you have a map. This is what we're seeing on the screen right now. And you can see that you can't see the whole map. So based off where you go inside of your Minecraft world, you start kind of unraveling or showing what the topography or what the landscape looks like. So you have to walk around a lot and basically discover your whole world and then slowly uncover the map. And this is how I feel like a lot of you feel with Google Analytics. You know, you go in the tool and you kind of look at one report and there's all these other reports and you're just kind of blind to what the tool really has to offer and if it's really beneficial for you. I think we're living in an age where we don't want to waste time walking around on the whole of our world in Google Analytics to know if it's really useful. We just don't have the time. And even more so when it comes to our clients, we don't really want to waste time inside of reporting if it's not really going to benefit anybody. So I think that I can help you with because I know the full map. So I see the full picture of Google Analytics and I know exactly what reports you should be looking at as a virtual assistant or a web designer. I know exactly what reports your clients want to hear. And I know exactly how to use the tool in a way that can benefit your business. So like before, I think it's really about the strategic value that we bring to our clients, not just the admin day-to-day stuff that we do so well anyway. I think it's that extra touch of showing a client a new way of sharing content or showing them that you know what content will convert correctly. You're not just guessing or you're not just following what you think you should be doing, right? There's a strategic and there's an intelligent reason behind that. And this is where I present the amazing Google Analytics course for virtual assistants and web designers. So this is a special, this is a special course for virtual assistants and web designers who want to start becoming more strategic in how they work with their clients. And that doesn't mean their existing clients, just their existing clients. It's also bringing on new clients who see you in this light and who really. So I I think that Google Analytics can be a tool for attracting bigger clients and also offering your existing clients this unique service and help you. So the basics of the course is it's 4 lessons, and it's self-paced with video tutorials, dashboards, and just everything you need, not just to know Google Analytics. So I want to be clear, the course doesn't actually just focus on Google Analytics. I'm going to go through the curriculum in a second, but it actually teaches you how to start offering Google Analytics as a service to your clients, like what to charge, how to talk to them about it, so that you can grow the business. And that's where, you know, is just keep practicing. So the first lesson, this is kind of a sneak peek of the curriculum. So in the first lesson, you're going to learn how to propose Google Analytics services to an existing client, and how to just work with Google Analytics as a service provider. So the way you're going to be approaching the tool is a little bit different than how you would for your own business, and I want to teach how to do that. So I'm really passionate about giving you the tools to use Google Analytics in a way that will benefit your clients, and just knowing how to approach that. So that includes, you know, keeping clients, like I said, looking at the services, how you could provide already to your, or maybe it's something separate. So there's different ways you could approach that, and I want to show you how. The second lesson is more specific with the tool. So I teach you how to set it up. If the client already has set up, I make sure that you know how to make sure it's working, because a lot of the times we think it's working correctly and it's not. So I'm going to teach you how to validate it. And also just asking the client what they have set up, what they've done. I know that it can be a nightmare sometimes coming and working with a client who has something, but it's just not set up correctly. So learning how to troubleshoot that and asking the right questions. Learning how to configure the admin area, which is one of the most important areas in the tool, is so important. And that includes tracking opt-ins and subscriptions. So like I mentioned before, one of the most important parts of, well, one of the most interesting reports in Google Analytics is knowing which of your visitors downloaded an opt-in or subscribed to your newsletter. You can actually track any action on your site with Google Analytics. I just use opt-ins and subscriptions as like a nice example that everybody understands. So you could get a report that tells you of Facebook, Twitter, email, and I don't know, what else? Instagram. Which of those visits ended up in more email subscriptions, or which of those visits ended up in more opt-ins? So you can get a report that directly correlates something happening on your website with a marketing channel, so Facebook or email campaign or all that. And I think that's really powerful because that's really specific to your client's goals, and it's not just a general report. So there is a little bit of setup that goes behind that, but it's not too complicated. It just takes you know, a couple minutes and then testing it, and then you're good to go. So the third lesson is about metrics and things. So again, this is one of the most confusing parts in the tool, is just knowing how to interpret metrics. So I'm going to teach you what metrics you should be looking at and how to communicate this to the client. So a lot of the times we think we know, and I think that there should be a strategy around client communication. So what and what not to the client. The most important metrics for marketing, for a redesign, for if you're doing social media. So I'm going to, depending on the different tasks you have, what metrics is most important. And then also, you know, something as simple as setting up automatic reporting is something you could do for your client. And I've had Aaron message me, the client just says, oh my God, I love this. Like, you like Magic because they get this automatic report from Google Analytics. They don't know that Erin doesn't put together that report. They just get that email. So that kind of stuff can really change how the client views you when you're doing these other things. And then finally, the lesson number 4 is specifically, growing this with Google Analytics. So how are you creating that extra value for VAs? That could be, combining your social media tasks and scheduling tasks with analytics. So like we did on this call, you can actually look at the blog posts that were most popular, integrate that into what you're doing. And obviously, slowly showing your client why that's important, that's great as well. For web designers, this might be, if you're doing a redesign or any sort of website changes, or if you're starting a new site, being aware of your analytics can be crucial. So for this lesson, I'm going to get really specific about the steps that you take to do these things, and to just show yourself as a really, really strategic role and source for your clients, so that they really, really respect you and just appreciate that. So on top of that, there's a couple extra things that I wanted to provide, just as kind of a community, more community focused. So there is one group support call. So this is a self-paced course, so you don't necessarily need to go through the content right away. But in the first week that you have access to the content, there is a support call. And the reason I provided this is because I think that there's nothing like getting on the phone with someone and getting them to answer your questions, especially when it comes to Google Analytics. Like, there is no support in Google Analytics. Like, Google just doesn't really respond. There's no Google number. So the point of this call is to really come together and help you just go through any technical issues you're having, either around setup or talking to your client about something, or just anything, reporting, metrics. So I think that this is really valuable, and I know not a lot of other self-paced courses have this, but I'm really passionate about being here and helping you. There's also a Slack support group. So I don't have a Facebook group, and I just feel like I wanted to do it in Slack because I felt like it was a little bit less distraction, more technical, and just more fun. I like Slack a lot. And that, that's just a place to put questions, to connect with other people in the course. But more than anything, it's, if you have any issues or questions. And then finally, lifetime access. I'm going to be continuing to improve this course, and I really want to keep helping virtual assistants and web designers use Google Analytics. And so I want to just give you access to that, give you access to everything that I keep improving and making better inside of the course. So there's a little bonus lesson. I put this emoji. I feel like a lot of people get frustrated with spam. So the bonus lesson here is setting up a spam filter for your clients. So this is a normal situation inside of Google Analytics. You have spam traffic, and we all have it. It's just the reality. And in order to correctly analyze the data, you need to filter out the spam. Otherwise, you're going to get a lot of wonky values, and you're not going to be able to correctly analyze. So this is probably one of the first steps you need to take before working with a client. And this is included as well, and it's a whole lesson around it because it is a responsibility. But the cool thing is you can charge for this. So you can actually tell the client that you'll maintain their spam as part of your services. Any questions so far?
No. No questions, but Natalia says that she loves that you include but not to add the client, which
Yeah.
is obviously very important, and Tracy agrees, and I agree too.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I mean, it's just confusing when you're learning the tool because you're feeling like what it's trying to say. So also knowing what not to say to the client can be great.
Yeah. And also, even if you are just looking at the data, like anyone can read numbers, but deciding which one is the important one there's value there a lot.
Yeah. So this is the price, the normal price of the course, and this is something that's probably going to go up in the future. But right now, for you guys on this webinar, a really special price because this is, I just really care about you guys, and I'm so happy that you decided to join me here in this masterclass, this first masterclass. So I'm providing a really special early bird price just for the people on this webinar, and if you join in the next 24 hours. And that's almost $100 off. So that's I think really valuable for everything you're getting in the course, and I just really believe that this course can change how you run business, can give you a new skill, and it's just a community of others who are learning Google Analytics as well. So on top of this bonus of $80 off, I'm also doing one-on-one strategy sessions. So if you sign up in the next 24 hours, you're gonna get a call, a one-on-one call with me, where I'm going to walk through how you can start using Google Analytics in your business today, specifically for your business. So everyone's different, and I know that we all have different goals in our business, either for web designers or for virtual assistants. So I love just getting on the call with people, and I want to help you know exactly how you're going to start using Google Analytics. So that's why I wanted to do these strategy sessions. Maybe it's a little crazy, a crazy idea, but I just really wanted to give that view. So I'm going to put the sales page in the chat box. So if you're interested.
Oh,
you did? Oh, thanks, you.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you can go check out that sales page. Remember, there's actually I think there's a timer on the sales page. So
yes, there is.
So that's the time to make use of the other early bird offer that I'm doing. But now I just wanted to just take a moment to go through questions. If anybody has any other specific questions about Google Analytics, or about the course, or anything. We can talk about Minecraft more too. I don't have any issues.
Yeah, as you can see, the sun kind of
set that's fine.
Yeah. So I'm just a voice at this point. I can try this crazy invention called a light.
You don't have any lights?
I have. It's the weakest thing ever, but let's see.
No questions. Interesting. That means I did a good job, I think.
Everything is like super understandable for everyone. No questions, no concerns, no comments about Minecraft.
Now I really want to go and play. Like, I just, it's kind of addictive, like all video games are, right? But you start playing and then you want to build stuff. I'm actually building the Disney castle in one of my worlds. I don't know where that came from, but it just started happening.
It just happened and you started to roll with it. It's fine.
But it's hard. Like I have to like look at all the structure around the Disney castle, looking at all these pictures from different angles. I feel kind of like an architect, right, when I'm playing Minecraft. But
exactly. I mean, you can put this in your CV, like Minecraft architect.
Totally.
Years of experience.
Totally. I guess I'll just go through a couple extra things about the course in case anybody is wondering. So, oh, that's so great, Tracy. Well, no, thank you for coming. We'll have to connect on Minecraft. I'll share my Disney castle. So for those of you staying, I mean, ask any questions, but just a couple other things. So I'm going to show you how to set up the tool and use the report. But really what I think is valuable in the course is how do you integrate this in your business? Because if it's not in your business, it's not really important, I don't think. Like, so the focus of the course is how to apply Google Analytics inside your business to grow your audience, to grow your clients, and to just make you more valuable as a VA or a web designer. And getting your clients to look at you like more than that, I think that's like the key. I don't know, UC, do you ever feel that like your clients just see you as like this admin monkey and you're kind of like this, you just sit at home and all you do is code and you have to explain to them, actually, I don't just do that?
Honestly, not really, because if you're in tech, you have this magical aura.
Tell me about the magical aura.
Exactly, but no, I not really. Sometimes I did, but generally, especially because I really like to code. So.
Okay, so you're not the ideal example, but
I'm sorry. No, I came here to be the co-host, not an ideal example.
You're right. You're right. I guess I still think that the big and the bad clients, the big fish, as I like to call them, they look for people who aren't just doing the tasks, that they're thinking out of the box and they're always providing extra value. And could be the way to go, right? So just so you know, if you buy in the next 24 hours, you know, you're going to get all these bonuses and everything, including the one-on-one session with me. But the course actually starts in July. So that's something to keep in mind. So if you're like freaking out about like, oh, I can't look at all this stuff now, or if you have a lot of things going on in June, that's fine, because you don't actually get access to the material until July. But after that, you can look at it whenever you want, you can read it, and it's going to improve. So I'm going to be continuing to update this and adding to it, and you're going to have access to all of that. And the initial price, so the $280 price, is definitely going to go up in the future, because I think this is going to be really valuable. So this is a really special price. Yeah, that's kind of it. I can't think of anything else. Yeah, the one-on-one, yeah, the one-on-one, it's like extra love. I feel like we just need hand-holding. You know, like a big baby, and I just need to get on the phone. You see, you know that, like I bug you and I'm like, help me, something.
Yeah.
You just need to know there's another human, you know, and Google Analytics.
Yeah, that someone gets what you don't.
Yeah.
It's like university all over again.
Yeah, so the one-on-one call is really to give you that extra support and just see each other, see our faces, our beautiful faces, and I love talking. I don't know if you guys noticed, but yeah, so that's the idea. Well, thank you so much, everyone. Oh, I feel so much love. Thanks, UC.
Thank you for inviting me, and thank you people for showing up
Yes.
and hanging around.
Yeah. I'm going to be doing another masterclass, by the way. Probably in probably not next week, but the other week. So the course is still going to be the official cart open is the second last week of July, or June. Man, my months are horrible. So the official cart open is the 19th of June. So there, the cart's going to be open for 5 days. So if you don't feel right now is the right time for you, that's fine. So you still have an opportunity later on, but it's not going to be at the same price. But basically, I'm going to probably be doing another masterclass on that week with something else. So, yay! Because I like doing.
So stay tuned.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. It was so much fun. And if any other questions come up, just ping me on Facebook or on Instagram or wherever. All right.
Yeah. And have a nice one, everyone.
Yes. Bye-bye.
Bye.